Do you know what's going on? Maybe it's another drill.
Commence primary ignition.
For Midwest Guys presents Parsecs of the Force, a time for everything Star Wars.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it.
I have waited a long time for this moment.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.
This will be a day long remembered.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Punch it!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to For Midwest Guys Presents Parsecs of the Force. We're back, and with me, as always, is Mr. Brian Eckenbauer.
Hello. How's it going?
How's it going, Brian?
Not much, man. It's going very well, and I see we have some new technology over there.
We do. We have upgraded to the, I like to call it, instead of the HAL 9000, it's the Vader 9000.
Yes.
So we have, we're still working out the bugs a little bit, but much more high-powered.
Yes, I will throw up some pictures on our Twitter feed or Instagram page, and so you can see our cool new computer with the red lights on it.
Yes, which is off screen, but it's all there. It's all very impressive looking. The Vader 9000 For Midwest Guys special will now be running all of our video podcasts and audio podcasts. So big day for us here. Big first test of the system. So hopefully everything goes well. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. The Force is strong with it, though. We're okay. So speaking of the Force, we've got a lot to talk about Star Wars wise. So the first big announcement is that casting has finally been announced for Star Wars Episode 9. There were Daisy Ridley's obviously coming back, Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Lupita Nyong, which is Maz, is coming back. We'll talk about that a little bit. Domhnall Gleeson, that's General Hux. Kelly Marie Tran, Rose, obviously. Jonas, and I always screw this up. Suotoma, which is the new guy in Chewie outfit. He's back. Billy Lord is back as well, reprising her role, which is Carrie Fisher's daughter, by the way. And then we've got some new cast members as well. We have Noam. We'll get into more in depth in a minute, but it was Naomi Ackie.
Naomi Ackie. Richard E.
Grant. And Carrie Russell, which is a JJ favorite.
Yep.
She does a lot of his projects. Will be joining the cast of Episode 9. And, of course, they will be with Mark Hamill, Anthony Daniels, Billy D. Williams. Lando's back.
Lando, baby, Lando.
And also, they're going to be using Carrie Fisher will be in the movie.
Right.
Which brings up the first topic let's go right to Carrie, I guess. So they've got stock footage, I guess, from Episode 7. And they're going to somehow weave this into Episode 9. I guess JJ knew what he shot in Episode 7.
And he thinks he has enough left. Just throw it in, the stuff that nobody's seen yet.
And somehow make sense out of it. Yeah.
I mean, and he did a very seamless job when he did it the first one, throwing in the stock footage that they had from Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah, for Rogue One, yeah.
Like that seamless stuff that they found ways to fill that stuff in.
Yeah.
So they know how to fit that stuff in, and J.J. Abrams knows what he shot, and he's doing the new movie. Right. And like we were talking off camera, he's probably got footage from Episode 8 as well.
I'm sure they got something.
Yeah, like give me all the stuff at the cutting room floor.
Yeah, and then we can make a story out of it or something. The question is, though, will Leia survive 9, or do you think they'll finally kill her off using the stock footage or not? To me is you could keep her alive technically.
Yeah, I bet they keep her alive, but I bet it's one of those like she just kind of is on the spaceship and they show the spaceship leaving.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like kind of like a send off.
Yeah. Then
we don't see her again after. You know what I mean?
Right. She's in a medical coma or something.
Could be.
Knows. Yeah, I think I think there's actually a good chance they might kill her off. I think, and I think if they do that, I think they need to do that at the first part of the movie, especially coming off of Last Jedi and all the controversy. If you have to do it at the beginning, and then because this is the final this is the final movie in the trilogy, maybe even the saga. So I think they need to definitely end on a high note. And I don't think killing her off at the end would serve any purpose if they do it. So I think it would have to be done in the first part of the movie. I don't know, but apparently they did get the blessing of Billie Lourd, her daughter. So that's good. I was glad to hear that she's on board with it, whatever they've got in mind.
Well, I'm just glad they didn't recast.
That was the one thing I did want to see, was a recast. I was actually okay even with going as far as with the CGI like we saw in Rogue One.
Right.
But they said they weren't going to do that either to honor her memory. Which I can understand that too. Maybe Billy didn't want that to happen either. Hard to say. We don't know, but
Well, I think, why wouldn't you be okay with somebody, as long as they've already shot the scenes and everything else? Why would you not be okay with them using it?
Right. Exactly. And her character lives on. She gets. Leia is a very important character. She's one of the big three in Star Wars, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I'm more than pleased to hear that they've got something in mind that they can do. Also, let's talk about Luke for a second. There's no mention. Obviously, it says Mark Hamill's coming back, which means Luke is back. At least we think. Is he going to be a Force ghost? Because there's no mention either way. Or do you think he'll actually come back physically?
See, that's what I don't know. So, is he the most powerful Jedi ever, and he can teleport kind of shit?
Jump through space and time.
Yeah, so there's a 90% chance he's just a Force ghost.
Okay.
10% chance that he's legit. Because only reason why I say that is because of what he said to Kylo on Crate. And he said, "See you around, kid."
Yeah. See, I still think he's going to haunt him, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know about all. Star Wars Nightmare on Crate.
But he could, it could be like every time that there's even a nudge to the light side by, maybe Luke shows up. I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. It would be awesome, and a lot of people probably wouldn't like this at this point, but I think it would be awesome if they found a way to bring it back physically for one more battle, one more scene. I mean, in the original script for Return of the Jedi, they had Obi-Wan Kenobi actually come back and help Luke fight Vader. So, I mean, that was the original script, but rough draft. But I just want to see it. That's the fanboy in me coming out. But
how many people do you think it would bring back after you killed him off in the second one? You know what I mean? You killed him off in the Last Jedi.
Well, I wouldn't mind if they brought him back. And there's gonna be a lot of Star Wars fans really yelling at me for this one. If they brought him back like Lord of the Rings style, like he was sent back, for whatever purpose.
Luke the White.
Luke the White. Yeah, exactly. I know I just pissed everybody off.
Luke the White.
Luke the White.
He comes back for his hand and his lightsaber. Is my precious.
Okay. Also returning is Lupita Nyong'o. Apologize. She'll obviously be playing Maz, I'm sure. So my only thing I'm glad Maz is coming back. I really like the character, especially in Force Awakens. I just wanted her to be more than a Battlefront 2 hologram game tie-in to the movie.
What if long shot.
Okay.
What if she brings back Han?
How would she bring back Han?
She has a basement full of crap. A whole bunch of relics and everything.
Like she clones Han Solo back?
No. She somehow managed to get the lightsaber from Luke.
Well, wherever it went in Cloud City.
And we don't know that Han died.
Yeah, but he got run through a lightsaber and fell down a chasm.
Darth Maul got cut in half.
Okay, point taken. Point taken. It's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
I mean, Darth Maul got cut in half, so I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah. So I really want to see Luke back, and you really want to see Han back, huh?
I wouldn't mind seeing Han back, just to see the look on Kylo's face. Was like,
what the?
Yeah, what the?
What the F moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, also, Jonas obviously will be in the Chewbacca suit, and there will be there's no mention of Peter Mayhew.
He'll probably be on set.
I would think
he'll probably be on set, but he probably won't be doing any kind of scenes or anything.
No, he actually had spinal surgery to improve his movement. So just I think like a few weeks ago.
Oh.
So, and they're just getting ready to start shooting. So if he does show up, I'd probably show up towards the end of filming, if even that. So, but I'm more than happy with Jonas's performance as Chewie. He did
really well in Solo.
So I see no problems with that whatsoever. Obviously, nothing against Peter Mayhew. He'll always be the one and only Chewbacca, but nevertheless. All right, so let's switch gears and let's talk about the new cast members coming in to Episode 9. Obviously, first one, Carrie Russell,
the biggest
name of the three. She's worked a lot with JJ in the past. I know she was. She's done things as light as, was it Felicity? Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
And I know she was definitely she's in the show that just ended, The Americans, where she plays a pretty badass,
like spy,
yeah,
like double agent
kind of thing. So, let's just take a few minutes here and kind of speculate. Considering her past work and considering her red hair, I have to throw it out there. What about Mara Jade? What about Luke's his wife in the EU?
Right, you were mentioning that, and I had no idea who it was. I really find it hard to believe that they would pull somebody like that into
9 after Luke's gone.
Yeah, like I really find it hard to believe that they would throw that in there.
Yep.
But so this isn't in our notes.
Okay.
However, thinking about it, what if this whole time Luke's been gone or whatever? Like, what if he already hooked up with Mara Jade? Mara Jade is Rey's mom.
Yeah. Well, Mara Jade was also a Jedi, so
I mean, like, what if they play it like that?
I don't know. It's still out there. It can still be retcon that Rey's parents are nobody.
Which I really still already think. I already think that was just a lie. That was just a ploy. Like, if the more I rewatch it, and like, I just feel like it's just a ploy. Like, if we're just in him to try to push her in the right direction. That's just my thoughts.
I got two thoughts on it. She's either Skywalker or Kenobi or both, or she really is from nobody because they want to play up what they call the Reylo theory of a love interest between
Rey and Kylo.
I don't know. I've heard there's been some wild rumors going on around about that. I don't really want to speculate, take too much time and then go off on course on that. But she would have to be nobody if that were to take place. We don't want to see any more sister kissing in Star Wars if we can avoid it.
Unless she's a Kenobi.
Which would be very interesting. I'm all for her being a Kenobi. I love that whole idea, honestly. But trying to stay on track. Let's get back to Miss Russell here. Do you think maybe she could be a new rebellion leader? Kind of like...
Well, that could very well be. Like the girl from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Laura Dern's character. Yeah,
it could be. If she is, I hope she tells us the story of what the plan is, and we don't have to just go to a side planet to come back and ruin everything. If she could just said we're going to that planet and been done with it.
Yeah, and straighten it out in the first place.
Yeah.
She could be, because of the Americans, she played a really great spy, like you said. She could be a spy. She could be a new First Order character, a general. Maybe a replacement for Phasma. There's no mention of Gwendolyn Christie, by the way.
Maybe she's Phasma's daughter.
Maybe she's Phasma's replacement. Maybe she's the new.
Maybe she's Phasma. Maybe she was Phasma's replacement.
Maybe she's Snoke's new dark side apprentice. Maybe.
I don't think that.
She could also be, and I'll throw this out there. This would be a long shot, super long shot. She could even be a new Jedi Padawan training under Rey. No. Just maybe a Force sensitive that never got trained.
That would just be like a weird situation because typically you think of the Padawan as being younger.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to see Carrie Russell as being the Padawan.
Or maybe she's one of Luke's old Jedi apprentices, Padawans, kind of floating out there that escaped.
Or maybe she's part of the Knights of Ren.
Ooh, a female. See, that's the one thing Star Wars needs, is a good female. Gwendolyn Christie's been okay. They haven't done anything with her. But I want to see a really good Star Wars dark side female villain. I really do. I think it would be fantastic.
Maybe that's what she is. Maybe she's part of the Knights. Maybe that's what a couple of these people are. Knights of
Ren.
Knights of Ren that we see.
I think it could go either way, and we're just basing this. This is pure speculation. We have no insider information, so if we hit something, we're just lucky. So the Force is with us. Let's talk about the next one. This is Naomi Aki. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
She's a virtual unknown.
Yeah, all I could find on her is she played like a servant girl named Anne in the movie Lady Macbeth. And apparently she played a character called Gemma Morgan in The Five.
The Five?
Yeah, I have to look that one up. I haven't seen either one of those, unfortunately. She could be anything. Because I haven't seen any of her work, so I have nothing to base on, unfortunately.
Well, and it doesn't even say if she's a actual actor, like human looking, or if she's an alien actor.
Right.
She could be like another Maz.
And that's a great point. Carrie Russell could be an alien.
Yeah,
too.
and they could just be like just voice actors.
Yeah, that's very true.
And actually, now that I just said that, the next guy you're going to talk about,
yeah, Mr. Robert E. Grant or Richard E. Grant.
That just makes sense that he would be a voice actor, considering that his most prominent thing was he was a narrator for Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, and he was also played the Doctor Who in an animated Doctor Who series, so he's got a lot of voice acting credit. It's a good point. I hadn't even thought about it until you just brought it up.
Yeah, because you're like, oh yeah, that guy could definitely be a voice actor.
But he's played good guys and he's played bad guys. He played Bob Cratchit in A Christmas Carol, 1999. He played Sherlock Holmes a couple times, it looks like. So, I mean, he could, but, he could be a great dark side alien. We haven't really had a dark side alien in the movies.
Right.
He could also be a first order. His face, when you see him, he's the guy there on the far, next to Anne. So you got Carrie.
Right here, below my finger.
Right below Brian's finger there, yeah. So we got, but I could easily see him in a first order outfit as a general, maybe to Hux or something like that, or
I could see that. He could be he could be the next one. What was that one? What was the one they called in the very beginning of The Last Jedi? What was that big bomber ship that they hit with the bombs?
Oh, the Dreadnought.
The Dreadnought.
He could be a Dreadnought
He could be the Dreadnought captain.
I could definitely see that. He also kind of strikes me as the type that could play like the servant kind of type. He kind of has that role. Maybe he's Kylo Ren's servant, dark side apprentice. I don't know about that. He might be a little old for that, but he kind of has that look to him. So definitely lots of different things going on. Very exciting news. I am definitely ready to turn the page on The Last Jedi, and finally we're getting back into what I like to do, which is speculate and guess and look at all this stuff and all this new stuff that's going to be coming out in episode 9.
I just hope they trickle the information out like they did in the last one.
Yeah,
because that was so much fun to hear all that, get all that stuff. Even though a lot of us were wrong.
Oh, we were way off.
But it's so fun when you get like the little bits and little nuggets, and you're like, ooh. What if they do this? What if they do this? And what if they do that? Did you see this? That could be this. And it's one of those things where you love to watch that, do that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's certain people who don't like to do that. They don't like to. They just want to go in and not be disappointed because what they've thought was just. But I'm one of those, like, I like to speculate the whole time, and then you go in and see, and you're like, ooh, I hit that.
I got that.
I didn't hit that. That was awesome. It would have been better if I'd done this, but I still like that.
But I totally wasn't expecting that, and that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That is where this really gets fun again. And that's why, and speaking of fun, and we're going to continue that speculation because our next topic is, obviously with Billy D. Williams back, what brings Lando back to the Resistance in Star Wars Episode 9 is revealed. So an article was released on MovieWeb on July 24th, and I have to preface this. This was released 3 days before they released the casting announcement and made any kind of speculation about Leia using stock footage of Carrie Fisher for Leia at all. So they didn't know that at the time. But basically, they're saying this. They basically make the point that the comic books have given us a lot of extra story on Star Wars, and the recent adaptation of The Last Jedi makes it pretty clear that Leia is not going to make it in the opening moments of Star Wars Episode 9. So if that is true, spoiler alert for you guys, she survived the blast in space, but it did more damage than they thought, basically is what they're saying. And because of this, Lando, her death is the catalyst that brings Lando back.
Not Han's death.
Not Han's death, but Leia's.
Okay.
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 Well, he's a ladies' man.
Okay.
So I'm not going to use the other term. But So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He found out that L337.
He wants to be reunited. But yeah, so to me this makes sense though, because maybe they have some stock footage of her talking to someone about handing off the rebellion, the resistance, whatever you want to call it,
Or,
off to somebody. You could splice Billy D in.
So is Billy Lord? Does she play the daughter? Does she play Leia's daughter in that?
No, I can't remember the name of her character.
But it's not Leia's daughter.
It's not Leia's daughter as far as we know. There's no mention. She's like a little sidekick. She's
Oh,
the
that
one
would make
with the-
sense. Why we would think that.
But she does have Leia's buns. She's
Yeah.
the blonde.
Yeah, well, I knew which one she was. That's why I
Yeah.
was asking, because I was like, well, maybe he's coming to help fund because Leia's daughter has asked.
Oh, well, she still could be. They could.
I mean,
They could retcon that pretty
Yeah.
quick.
But that's what, or maybe it was a secret.
Yeah.
And no one knew about it until
Yep.
this movie. Because that's what I was thinking. Maybe she reaches out and says,
Yeah.
"I need you to fund this."
Well, and if anybody has the funds to fund a new rebellion, and I'm sure Lando has not stopped collecting the profits, especially after the war ended.
Cloud City and everything.
Cloud City and all the other new ventures he got for being a war hero over all these years. I'm sure that he could easily fund a new rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
He could actually, I think, they could kind of put him in the role of what was his name? Antilles, Bail Antilles' role in the first rebellion. In the prequels, like he was kind of behind the scenes. Lando could be kind of the guy behind the scenes as well. He might even do a little bit of. They might even throw some politics in here. Maybe there's a new Senate he has to go before. I don't know, but I see him more of a leading the rebellion. He's the guy everybody turns to. He's the old wise man now that everybody's looking to save him.
Right.
And hopefully his maneuvers at the Battle of Tanav will pay off once again. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Brian, about all this?
I mean,
I've been rambling on here.
I mean, I'm really excited about Lando coming in, and I just hope that they don't do it and throw it out there just like a fan service. Like, I really hope there's a reason that he's come back in the story, not just because JJ couldn't figure something out. You know what I mean?
Right, like they had to have somebody from the old series.
Right, and I also hope that it's not one of those things where it's in this last movie of the Skywalker saga, or whatever they call it, that they kill off Leia, Lando, Luke, Chewie, the Falcon.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
Falcon,
Like,
yeah.
they just go through the whole thing and just kill everybody off so it ends everything.
Right.
And so they can start fresh with the new, you know what I mean?
Right.
I just hope they don't do that, because
that would be horrible.
Yeah.
That would be the worst thing they could do. And I mean that, especially after the current state of affairs we just went through. Other thing to mention here, there is a rumor out there that Leia does die because of a Falcon crash at the beginning of the movie. I'm okay with that, maybe, but the Falcon needs to be fixed. I understand that they probably have to kill her off because Carrie Fisher has passed on, but the Falcon to me is just as important of a character as the big three are. It's a character all into itself.
Well, yeah, I mean that, and even a lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
like those are the key iconic things that the X-Wing. Those are all key iconic things that basically need to be in these movies.
Yes.
To make it feel
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah. You gotta honor the past in order to proceed into the
like
future.
Even if you say they're going to put the Falcon to rest, but it's because they're going to give it to Lando, and Lando's going to take it and put it on display somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, even if they're basically putting it out to pasture, as long as there's some kind of completion thing where it's not being totally trashed.
Right.
Because basically all that really does is just make it feel like they're trashing on our childhood.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, yeah, there's the Falcon.
Also, the big part of this announcement that concerned me was JJ confirms, especially in this line, because he drops a line basically in his big announcement, which is our next topic, is when he's talking about Carrie Fisher, he says this, and I quote, "Finding a truly satisfying," and here's the key word, "conclusion to the Skywalker saga without her eluded us." So there you go. Conclusion is the huge word. Conclusion, meaning is this the end of the Skywalker? No more Star Wars movies about Skywalkers. Does this mean that there's no more episodic movies?
Well, I don't think that's the case because you have Rey and Kylo.
You can carry on episodic adventures with.
I think you can carry on those without it being part of the Skywalker.
Yeah, but technically, as far as we know, Kylo/Ben is the last Skywalker right now. So if you're really going to end,
but he's not a Skywalker. So maybe the next trilogy is the Solo trilogy. You know what I mean?
You think it's a play on words?
Yes,
it could be.
You know,
I hope it is because
the Skywalker saga. So it's become the Solo because they find out that.
Well, my thing is, I don't like the idea of going away from the. If you want to take a break from the Skywalkers, that's fine. Say they went off and did, they're way off here, and then we're going to go off on a separate adventure for a while, and then we can come back to them at a later date. But to say that they're suddenly just gone, I don't like that idea. They have to leave it open, as far as I'm concerned.
So, but the only person that would be Ben, unless they decided to make Billy Lord's character or Rey a Skywalker,
or there's other lost Skywalkers out there.
No.
So
how?
Well, maybe they just haven't mentioned that Leia and Han had another child, or something else.
Yeah. Maybe.
But I don't like the idea of leaving the Skywalkers forever. I don't mind taking a break from the Skywalkers. That's fine by me. But I don't want to close the door on it completely. I think they should leave it open-ended. That's just my take on it, because I think Star Wars and the Skywalkers go hand in hand. The Skywalkers show up when the Force needs them to, And although the Force existed way before they ever came into being and all that, but the movies have always centered around that family.
Well, of course they
in
have.
some shape or form. I mean, it's the rise and fall of Darth Vader and his redemption, and then this trilogy is more of the after effects of the fallout from Darth Vader, really, and in a way, because his grandson is trying to follow in Vader's footsteps, blah blah blah.
Right.
So this is really like Act 3 of Vader's life in a way, or Anakin. So
I wouldn't. If they're going to do that and they're going to make it the end of the Skywalker saga, then I would like to see them bring in Vader's Force Ghost.
I would too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're really going to end it,
if you're going to do it,
then you have Vader, Leia, and Luke.
Yeah.
Force Ghost.
Yeah. Here's my thing. I think. And like I said, I am vehemently. I just can't even talk. I am totally against them getting rid of closing the door on the Skywalkers forever. But like you said, if they are going to do it right. Tie the prequels, the original, and the sequel trilogy all together in a nice bow and wrap it up and give it the proper ending. If you're going to do it, I don't think they should do it in any way, shape, or form. But if it comes down to it, then I think that's what they should do. I think you should have Anakin's Force Ghost. And maybe you have Anakin's Force Ghost talk to Kylo Ren. Maybe that's part of his redemption. I don't know. Personally, I think Kylo's beyond redemption at this point. I think he has to I think he has to die, and I think Rey has to be the one to take him out, even though she may not want to.
Okay.
But we'll see. All right. So moving out of episode 9, news and stories, we're going to move into the next story, which is also announced were 2 new novels.
Books.
The first being Master and Apprentice. All we're really told about this is it's a Qui-Gon Jinn / Obi-Wan Kenobi adventure that takes place before episode 1, so kind of a prequel to the prequels.
So it's so funny. Like the only thing people have always said is we hate the prequels.
Yep, but now
the brilliant thing is, Brian, let's give the people what they don't want, and let's give them 2 books about the prequels.
Well, you know what's funny is, what's happened is the kids that grew up watching the prequels love the prequels, and they're now in their 20s.
And now
they want prequel stuff, and now everybody in the hate has gone from the prequels and moved to episode 8. That's where the hate now resides.
Right, exactly.
So now it's cool to be a prequelist. All these years being a prequel defender paid off for me. But yeah,
it still hasn't paid off.
So we don't know much about Master and Apprentice. The Queen's Shadow is a little bit more interesting to me. This is about Padme's transition as she was elected queen, and then she goes from when her term's up from being queen, because in the Star Wars universe they get elected to be queen on this planet, which is kind of strange. But nevertheless, she goes from her transition from the queen to Senator Amidala. So that's kind of her story, and not more details are given on either one. Like I said, of the two, I'm more interested in the Padme, just to see what and how they're going to create a story out of that, and if there's anything interesting there. Master and Apprentice, I kind of like that idea, just to see what the Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn story was like, their dynamic was like. 'Cause we got very little of it in episode 1 to see, him, Obi-Wan come up under Qui-Gon's apprentice.
Right. Like does it talk about how Obi-Wan was chosen? Or, you know what I mean? Like, or how Qui-Gon was chosen, and then it goes into the, the whole...
Right, maybe because Count Dooku was, Qui-Gon's master at one point. Yeah, maybe a little bit more history and depth there. So that sounds pretty cool to me, too. But we'll see. I
would rather have been a movie.
Well, you never know. These things can happen.
It's true.
Anything can happen. All right. And by the way, the Queen's Shadow is also written by E.K. Johnson. She also wrote the last Ahsoka novel. So it should be... she's a pretty good writer, and I think that's gonna. And the other one's written by Claudia Gray, which has written a lot of Star Wars books, really good Star Wars books.
Claudia Gray.
Yeah, you have to look her up.
That sounds.
Should sound familiar. And what?
50 Shades of Grey.
Well, no, not that kind of gray, Brian.
Queen's Shadow.
I hope
sounds
not.
Interesting.
Not that I wouldn't mind seeing Natalie Portman like that, but
that's pretty funny.
All right, and for our last topic of the night, we're going to talk. So, as you heard, or if you haven't seen, if you've been living under a rock, the Clone Wars is coming back. They are going to release 12 new episodes of the Clone Wars. It was announced at the San Diego Comic-Con convention, and according to sci-fi.com and using Twitter TV, there were 3 million tweets about Comic-Con, and the number one topic that was tweeted about was the Clone Wars. We did an entire special podcast on this. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it, by the way. But this just shows you, Brian, just how much of a surprise it was, number one, because nobody was expecting it. I wasn't.
Right.
Very few people, I think, were.
No. It was funny because, I don't know if we talked about it or I talked about it with somebody else, and we were talking about it, it was just the panel, because we were like, oh, it's the anniversary. That's what they're coming there for. They don't really have anything else to talk about, so they're going to bring that in there.
Right.
And then they walked in with that trailer.
Yeah.
And with the,
man, that was freaking awesome.
Well, and stories, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, until now. And you're like, what?
War unfinished.
I know.
Until now.
Like, what? And then it pans in, and you see Anakin walking in. You're like,
What?
Yes. And
It's
then,
coming back.
and then it gets the Star Wars music, and you get the goosebumps. You're like,
dude, it's going to be so awesome. We're going to cover it here. We'll have our own Clone Wars show or developing podcast. We'll review all 12 episodes when they come out. If that's finally the ending of the series, great. If not, they give us more, even better. But we'll definitely be reviewing that along with the new Star Wars Resistance show that'll be coming out as well. Mm-hmm. So a lot of excitement, a lot of new things coming down the pike about Star Wars. We can leave Episode 8 behind and move on and start having some fun again for Star Wars.
Well,
I'm excited.
It's nice to be able to talk about things.
Yeah.
Like things that have, instead of talking about things that have pissed us off about a certain episode or divided the fan base or this or that. And it's nice to be able to we have this new project coming out that we can speculate about. This other new project, and this other new project, and it's and they're actually close to being in production or almost finished. So it's yes.
And I don't have to talk about directors being fired or reshoots or
Not
this
yet.
problem and blah, blah,
Not
blah.
yet.
Hopefully, please, dear God. All right. So just a lot of fun stuff coming out about Star Wars. So that's our show for tonight. Brian, I want to thank you for... Oh, real quick, social media. I always forget. if you did like what you find here, you can go. The best place to go is 4midwestguys.com. That's where everything's listed. All of our podcasts, links to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Speaking of Twitter, you can find us at 4midwestguys.com. Brian, where can they find you on Twitter?
At AnkZone.
You can find me at bwilly1977, and I think we're gonna be changing the Instagram account.
Yeah, like we haven't changed it yet, like officially. So right now, currently mine is at @the_real_Ank,
Okay.
which I've been posting a bunch of stuff, but we're going to be transitioning over to at 4midwestguys
very shortly. All right. So, Brian, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man.
And this is B. Willie saying, may the force be with you always.